What's going on, guys? My name is Slcmof and I'm back again with another video, and in this one I want to talk about Telltale's Batman game and the villains that we can expect beyond that of which is already confirmed. So we do know that Carmine Falcone is going to be in the game, who I wouldn't necessarily say is a villain. You know, he's certainly an antagonist, but he's, you know, like a crime lord. He's kind of in a different category, at least I would say, from Penguin and the Joker and that kind of thing. But then again, Penguin's a crime lord as well, so, you know, whatever, it is what it is. However, we also do have Harvey Dent confirmed in the game, but please do keep in mind that Harvey Dent is confirmed for the game, not Two-Face. But with that being said, I would most certainly say, in that he's running for mayor, so he's probably been, whether it be DA or district attorney, or say that's the same thing, or attorney general or something like that, whatever he is, running for mayor is obviously a step up, you know, in the city of Gotham. So he's probably been that for a little while, been there, done that. He's likely still young, in his 30s, early 30s, late 20s, somewhere in that range. Probably the same age as Bruce Wayne or so. Probably during his run for mayor, maybe he actually wins or something like that. However, there's probably going to be a plot against him that ultimately causes or results in him becoming Two-Face, maybe getting acid splashed in his face, probably not his face lit on fire, because that's already been done before, you know, in the movies. But somehow, some way, if I had to bet money on it, I would say that Harvey Dent will become Two-Face by episode 5 of the series, so let's just go ahead and say that's 2 villains confirmed. Now, I know what all of you are wondering. I've answered this question before in my Telltale Batman Q&A series, which I've not done very well recently or frequently, but anyway, I've been answering some questions here and there. So let's talk about the Joker. Now, a lot of people are going to be asking, is he going to be in the game? This is probably one of the most questions I've been asked. And the answer, honestly, in terms of like what we can predict or what we can expect, of course, we'll never know till we get the game, but I feel as though there is a large possibility, larger than that of which we've ever seen before in a Batman game, that the Joker will not be present in the game. Well, what makes me say that? Well, I guess on the most basic level, the only other guy that would play the Joker besides Mark Hamill, that I could imagine playing the Joker, is actually Batman, okay? So, yeah. Troy Baker is Batman. He's not Joker. He's Batman. And Mark Hamill, he's been doing Arkham VR. Who knows if he could come back or if they'd even want to get him, because if he were to be playing Joker, he'd be playing a younger Joker. And I've repeatedly said that Kevin Conroy makes a great Batman voice, Batman in his prime. He always has, even when he was younger. That's just kind of the voice. Like, when you hear Kevin Conroy Batman, I hear, like, 40-year-old Batman, and I think I always will, even as Kevin Conroy starts to age. So this 25-year-old Batman that we're getting, I think that Troy Baker may actually be a better fit, and a lot of you guys are going to disagree with me on that. That's just my honest opinion. So anyway, I don't think that that's a good enough reason for them to not include him in the game. But what you have to look at as well is what's kind of unfair to Telltale, and that is that every single Arkham game has banked on the Joker in one way or another, including Arkham Origins. But, you know, of course, the Arkham trilogy with Rocksteady, it's really about the relationship between Batman and the Joker through and throughout, and even by the fact that Scarecrow's not even the main villain in Arkham Knight, in my estimation, but it is indeed the Joker. That really shows you that the whole series is really based upon Batman and the Joker, and Arkham City, less than anything else, is the only game that doesn't focus on him all that much. So really, that's the most like Batman Hush-like Arkham game that we got. So really, I mean, you have to look at it. There is a little bit of Joker fatigue. I don't think it's excessive. There is a little bit of it. And I think that if the Arkham games didn't exist, or even if one of the Arkham games didn't rely on him to be the main antagonist of the game, then we could say, without a doubt, that he would be the main villain, or, you know, he would be a villain at some point. But in the fact that the Arkham games have used him so much, and some people have stressed a little bit of Joker fatigue, they may go a different direction. Now, if I'm going to bet money on it, I'm going to say there's an 80% likelihood that the Joker will be in the game, and if so, I will embrace that with open arms, because again, it's incredibly unfair for us to say, well, oh, we've already gotten him a lot. The Arkham games basically just rehashed him, you know, again and again. In Origins and Night, they didn't rehash him in Asylum and City, but and in Night he was done very clever, you know, in a clever way, and as he was in Origins. I'm just saying they used him a lot, and some people are sick of him, but that's not really fair to Telltale to be like, oh, well, another series that's totally unrelated to you used a villain a certain amount of time, so you can't do it. And I think that that's incredibly unfair, and they would do him in a unique and fun way. And I think that if they were to do him, then maybe they'd kind of do like a more New 52 Joker style, which is, again, very much so different from what I would probably assert is like a Killing Joke-esque Joker in the Arkham games. So one thing that I was speculating on a little bit leading up to the game is that we were going to get a kind of mystery where you don't know who the main villain is of the game until later. This, a great example, The Wolf Among Us. They did this very well, where you think it's this one villain in episode 1, and then like, no, it's not him, it's somebody else. And then you realize it's not them either, and then you get up to the highest power, and that's who the real kind of String Master is, and that worked extremely well in that game, and I figured that they were going to go with a more detective route in this game, but according to what Joe Stoffer said, and we can't know for sure, but essentially what he said is that the game is not a detective game, as The Wolf Among Us arguably was. This is going to be kind of a drama, crime thriller type thing, which is very much so different, but at the same time, in the same ballpark, you're trying to uncover it's not going to be a murder mystery game, as The Wolf Among Us was, is the point. But, of course, there's certainly going to be detective elements. You're playing as the greatest detective in the world, Batman. So, of course, that's going to be there. It's just not going to be the main focus of the game. It's going to be very much so a holistic Batman experience where you've got the super villains and all that stuff in there. As per other villains, if I had to speculate, I think that they're going to probably avoid going with villains like Killer Croc and Bane and stuff like that, because that would be very challenging to implement in the style of game that they have, in the combat style that Telltale games have. So if I had to guess, I think that villains that we have the least likelihood of seeing are villains like Bane and Killer Croc. I don't think it would be impossible for Telltale to implement these characters, but it certainly would be quite a challenge if you're comparing to somebody like the Riddler, for example, where, it would be much easier to implement into a Telltale game. But you do have Catwoman. You're fighting Catwoman in the first 10 minutes of the game, so you know what I mean? So who knows? Who knows what they can do? Maybe they're pushing the envelope. Of course, their engine is kind of improved for this one, so maybe the capacity of what they can do in terms of a combat or action standpoint has improved as well, and they're going to try some new things with this one. I'm assuming that we're going to get probably some really edgy action from Telltale that they've never attempted before, because just on the fact that their previous games, like The Walking Dead, have not relied too much upon action. But even then, you look at their Michonne series, which is probably the most action-heavy series they've ever done. I mean, like, the first episode of that game, literally a third of it is just, like, decapitating zombies as Michonne. So that's pretty cool, and I'm looking forward to see what action they have in plan for us for this game as well, and especially because we're playing as Batman. I mean, come on. It's going to be totally unique and different from what you could expect, like from the Arkham games, for example, because a lot of you guys have found me via the Arkham games, but at the same point, it's going to be, everything has a purpose in Telltale games. It's always a part of a bigger narrative and story, and the story is always the driving, point, I guess, of the story. It's the driving focus of the story, and to me, that's what makes them so great at what they do. So anyway, guys, hope you'll have enjoyed the video. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. So in summary, the brute villains that just punch you a lot, Bane, Killer Croc, I would not expect them too much, but I think if the Riddler is a possibility, the Joker is absolutely a possibility, and Two-Face and Penguin are probably going to have a good percentage chance of showing up as well. Or maybe they're going to go in a direction where it's going to be more crime focused and you get deeper into the Falcone crime family and all that kind of stuff, like the Long Halloween. That's much more so what it's like there. And you have just the villains like Selena Kyle are just kind of mingling in there. We cannot really know until the game actually comes out. So let me know what you thought about my speculation in the comment section below, and list the top 3 villains that you would like to see in the game that are not already announced in the comment section below. My name is Slcmof, and we'll see you in the next one.
Master Bruce, I hoped it would never end like this. Rest in peace.